Hello, I'm really glad you're here. I'm Amy, and this is Amy's Wild Cards. This is the podcast where I interview people who I think are my friends with a deck of cards filled with random questions I've created. At the beginning of each interview, this deck will be shuffled, and whatever questions come up, in whatever order, is completely up to fate. We're gonna laugh, maybe cry, possibly be offended. Let's get into it.
That's funny. I know I'm your friend. You don't have to think I'm your friend. I know I am.
Oh, thanks, Lynda. Today, Lynda's here.
Hey.
All right, so I did a little shuffling before you got here. I'm going to do a little more shuffling right now.
Sure.
I always say this is your interview.
Okay.
So you are in control. So you can choose when I stop shuffling.
Right.
Or I can choose for you.
Okay. So just keep shuffling,
Okay.
and I'll tell you to stop.
You got it.
Okay. Keep going. And keep going. And keep going one more. And stop.
Okay. What hill will you die on?
What hill will I die on? Well, I would like to die on I'd like to die on several hills, I'm not the type I would shoot where I would choose one hill. I would like to try die on a creative hill. I would like to die on a hill with justice, especially in light of what's going on right now with the city and the ICE raids and that horrifying big beautiful bill, which is not beautiful. That's a hill I'd like to die on, and a hill with love, with peace, serenity, with good friends, good company, excellent food. Excellent food. Lovely food. I would love to die on a hill with amazing food. So, I'd like to, there's multiple hills I'd like to die on.
Okay. Would you rather be funny, smart, or incredibly good looking?
Good looking, beauty is only very skin deep. Looks come and go. Somebody who's beautiful now or beautiful in society standards, may not be, their beauty it may not be in vogue in like 30 years from now, if beauty is in vogue or something. And what were the other two?
Funny, smart, or incredibly good looking?
Funny, smart. I like funny and smart. I get why I want to have both funny and smart.
Have both.
I want both.
Great, you get both. Would you rather shoot a gun or an arrow?
Arrow.
Yep.
Yeah, arrow's cooler.
Definitely.
I think. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What kind of tree are you?
I'm an apricot tree.
Oh, lovely. Say
Because
more.
the reason why is we grew up with an apricot tree in my backyard when I was a kid, and the apricots in summer were just just gorgeous, sweet, amazing fragrance. And I wrote about it in the apricot tree is like a major image in my solo show Summer Fruit. I grew up with an apricot tree, and it just was like a magical tree for me back then. And now I eat apricots nowadays, and I think they just pale in comparison to the apricots that I grew up with. And occasionally you'll get like a really good apricot. If it comes from a farmer's market, perhaps, but just overall, just like they're not the same. They're not.
Yeah. Have you ever heard people pronounce it apricot?
I think I've heard apricot. Yes.
Yeah. So how do we know which one is the right one?
I don't know. That's interesting. It's just like I'm first generation American. I grew up. My parents are Caribbean. In my house most people say plantains, but I grew up saying plantains.
Oh.
For me, it's plantains.
Got it.
It's plantains to me. Anybody that says plantains, I'm just like, come on now. It's just like, that's what I say.
Throw on extra syllables.
Yeah, it's just
there.
like plantains. I don't know. I guess it's tomato, but for me, it's plantains. So apricot. I'm not sure about that one. I guess maybe I grew up saying it apricots, but somebody may outside of my household may say apricots.
I feel like I've heard apricot most.
Yeah.
Do you regret saying yes to being on this podcast?
Do I regret saying yes? No.
We just started also, so that's great. Have you ever seen a ghost?
Well, I might have heard one.
Oh,
Okay,
go on.
so my mom recently passed away in May, May 23rd, and I'm kind of dealing with the fallout of that. And and bear in mind, I'll get to the ghost story in a minute, but I'm kind of dealing with it the way a person would expect to deal with a death, especially a death of a parent. And every Saturday around 2 o'clock, we always have a Zoom call with my family. Mom used to be a part of the Zoom calls, and every Saturday 2 p.m. But nowadays, we've been still having the Zoom chat, but we're planning a celebration of life. And a couple of weeks ago, my sister was downstairs on the Zoom. I was upstairs, and we have like a hardwood floor, and I swore I heard like footsteps on the floor, and my mom used to wear slippers all the time. And then I said, Lisa, do you hear, that's my sister, do you hear footsteps on the floor? And she said, no. And I know I heard footsteps. They were pretty loud, and you have to bear in mind, I'm not a type of ghost. I'm not a ghost person. I wouldn't want to see a ghost or a poltergeist or, if an angel were to open up a door, I'd scream and then I close it. I'm not that type of person where I like ghost stories and things like this. But I know for my sister, who's like into like the reincarnation and past lives and stuff.
Yeah.
She's hardcore into that. Her spirituality is like, in Star Trek with Queen, like that play that chess, Queen of Queens level 3. It's like level 3 Queens level, right? And I'm like maybe there, maybe middle. I'm not sure, but anyway, like I heard footsteps on the floor. Like mom was in her slippers, and I heard that and was like, whoa, it was pretty loud too. So I'm just not, I don't know whether I'll hear that again, or I guess I want to stay open to the idea of ghosts. I have the feeling that was her, but I don't know. I'm an agnostic when it comes to ghosts. I'm sorry, my answer is all over the place, I feel.
No, that's some good, interesting stuff. And I mean, that must have been something.
Yeah, I heard like her usually when mom would come out of the bathroom, and you would hear her footsteps kind of on scuffing on the floor and such,
Yeah.
and her slippers. She wore a lot of slippers, and I heard like it sounded like her slippers on the hardwood floor.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Would you rather lead or follow?
I could do both. I like being a leader, and I like being a follower. I guess I guess if I had to choose, I guess it would be leading, because I'm kind of maybe I don't want to say I'm used to it, but I'm getting used to it. I was a member of my neighborhood council. I became like like a chair for like 2 committees. I've been a leader, outside of that too. And I like leadership. I really like leadership. I love, especially I like learning about Robert's rules.
Oh yeah.
I'm really into that. I have a book on my Kindle about Robert's rules. I love parliamentary procedure. I love just like I loved how democracy. In its typical meeting, I like to think that's that's how democracy should work. Now, you have to bear in mind that people bring their own personalities to any meeting.
Yeah.
And so sometimes somebody might want to hijack a meeting, with other things that that aren't relevant to what's going on.
Yep.
They're not really listening. And I learned a long time ago, like, you when you're a leader of a meeting, you have to listen. And that's for an ADHD person like myself, that's a little difficult, but that I think it's essential for us to listen, and sometimes conversations can get heated, and sometimes we need to step away from that. Recently I was in this sorry if I'm going off on
No,
a
it's
tangent.
okay.
Recently, like I was in a board meeting like a couple of months ago, and this guy, members of the public are invited to these board meetings, and he said like this guy that we were talking about a certain issue, and then this guy said the N word like 3 times.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my
and
God.
so it's just that was really jarring, and so I decided to, in the meeting that I was a chair of, the Social and Racial Equity Committee, I decided to bring up this issue, in this meeting, and apparently what happens is that as long as they're talking about like the agendized item, they can say what they want, but we don't condone hate. We're not let me backtrack a bit. They didn't. I don't want to say they can say what they.
It's insane that this person was doing that.
Yeah, that's hate speech is wrong. Hate speech is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't get that twisted. I mean, but we have to tell them, please, be mindful. We're no hate speech. Just follow the code of conduct, so on and so forth. And so it's kind of weird because he's allowed to say what a person's allowed to say what they want, even though he could say like, this and blah, 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 as long as it's part of the agenda. But it's a little weird, and I don't understand that, but I mean, we can from the beginning we can people can say, well, they can't we please be we follow our code of conduct, and please no hate speech, whatever, but the person is allowed to as long as they're speaking on the agendized item, we can't we have to allow them their First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
So it's very strange. I'm glad I'm not on the board anymore. The board got eventually they got most of the people on my slate, the progressive slate, they all got voted off the board. Now I think a bunch of conservative people are coming on.
Oh boy.
And it's what I'm okay with it. Just like for every like Ecclesiastes, for every for every season, a
Right.
time to born and a time to die, so on and so forth. So it's their time, okay? Let them do what they want to do. That's okay. I'm fine with it. But now I'm thinking, what's my next move? What do I want to do? And for me, what I want to do is the midterms are coming up next year, 2026. I really want to help like a good candidate get elected. I don't know what that would entail. Maybe knocking on some doors, volunteering in an office, doing something, helping other people. I think that's for me, that's essential to really love, and love and service is important to me, especially service, and I like service. I love being a part of things. I mean, that's why I got involved in my neighborhood council, because I saw homelessness on the street in my neighborhood, and I remember this was before I got on the board, and I emailed the guy who was the councilman at the time, time, and I heard back from the field rep, and I thought something was going to get done, but I felt like nobody was really listening to me. So I'm the type, I'm just like, well, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to get involved. And we did like we oversaw the homeless count. We got to participate in like a mini connect day where we connected people with different services, like getting a haircut, medical services, getting clothes. I mean, it was cool to help them find clothes, because I mean, I worked in retail for many, many years, and I got to help people kind of pick out nice clothing and stuff. And I would love to do something like that again. Maybe
Cool.
I know a lady she was like the former chair of the homeless committee, and now she's in she works for the Hollywood Food Coalition. I'd like to maybe volunteer there, or there's got to be something that I can do.
Totally.
I can't figure it out yet, but I will.
Yeah, it'll come to you.
That was a lot of talking. That was yak.
Lynda, do you like yourself?
I'm working on liking myself. Somebody told me the way to build self-esteem is through esteemable acts. And so I think I like myself better than I did when I was much younger.
Yeah.
But it's still not soup yet. I'm waiting for the day when it's soup, but it's not. The soup hasn't quite gotten to its optimal temperature. I'm working on it, but it's not. Sometimes I have to really kind of stop myself when I'm saying negative self-talk. I have to really stop, and just kind of listen to what I'm saying, and to do my best to do course correction. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, mind you, but I do the best that I can do.
Yeah.
So it's not 100%, but it's better than how it was.
Yeah.
So yes.
Is there anyone you no longer speak to that you would like to speak to again, and what would you say to them?
Well, there's a man that I used to. It wasn't even. I used to love him, but he wasn't like, we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but we were involved. And I mean, I no longer speak to him because he's triggering for me, and I don't know whether I want to say anything to him. I feel like I said what I needed to say, and I actually, I take that back. I actually wish him well. I wish him well. I want him to have all the love, the peace, the joy, the creativity, the harmony that anybody can have. I actually wish him well. I want him to be a productive member of society, and to have all that he wants and more, and have, the love of his life, which obviously it was not me, and I'm cool with that, and I want him to be, I want him to have it all, and he should have it all, So yes, that's what I would say.
Awesome. Do you think people like you?
I like to think that they do. I've got friends that like me. I've got my family members like me. They love me. It's a lot more than like. And I've got I have a nephew that loves me. So yes, I would say that people do love me and like me.
That's great. If your teenage self saw you now, would they think you're cool?
Yes. Yes. Unequivocally, yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Are you an over or under thinker?
I'd say overthinker when it comes to certain things. Maybe underthinking, maybe not seeing the bigger picture. I'd say maybe overthinker most of the time.
Yeah.
Just obsessing about what I said or shouldn't have said, kind of Monday morning quarterbacking everything, and just like, the game is over. You lost.
Yeah. What is the absolute worst thing about you?
the worst thing about me. The absolute worst thing. I think I know a lot of my character defects. I think maybe passive aggressiveness is one. Wanting to control other people. I wouldn't say it's the worst, but that is a certain characteristic that I need to work on. And I think maybe wanting to take advantage, of a certain situation, it's just, that's I'm just calling a spade, but at least if I can just look at it, just like, okay, so this is me, I guess I need to kind of, like a good friend of mine says, look at myself very right size. I'm not any better or worse than anybody else. Although, I think Trump, I just he's in a whole new category. He's a record breaker, but not in a good way.
What does it look like when you take advantage of?
This was when I was working at this nonprofit organization, and this invitation came in for this something or other, and I decided that I wanted to some party or something, and I decided I wanted to go. And I guess the communications director caught me in the act, and I went, and it's just kind of, it came back to me. So I took advantage of that. I was like in charge of like the mail and the phone and whatever, and so I just took advantage of that. And so I just have to be, I gotta keep it real, keep it 100. Just like, Lynda, you did that, don't do it again.
So like, you had the info for the party or the
info. It was like for some event, and I kind of RSVP'd yes or something. I don't know what I did.
And you weren't supposed to.
I was not supposed to do that. It was supposed to go to the communications director, not me.
Oh, I see.
And I was just thinking, like the other day, we have any opportunity we have the chance to do things that are ethical, like just even small things. Like the other day, I was couple days ago, I was running some errands, and I was going to get gas at the gas station, and I heard like there was like the beeping from the pump saying just to do. I think it was just the person that walked away didn't hit cancel, and it looks like they didn't hit cancel. I could have at that moment charged, put the pump put the nozzle in my gas tank, and just like, okay, I don't, I don't care. It's just like, but I decided to really just, in that moment, without even thinking, I just said, wait a minute, that's not mine. That's not mine. Mm-hmm. That's not for me to take. So I canceled it, and I paid for my own gas. It's small things, doing good acts without anybody seeing you. Because think about it. What if I chose to do that? Obviously there might be like CCTV. I could get in trouble. I could get arrested. I don't want to be another Negro in jail. There's too many of them.
All right. Who gave you permission?
To do what?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Lay it on me.
How many times have you almost died?
I haven't died. That hasn't happened to me yet, but I've seen other people die, but that hasn't happened yet.
No close calls?
Nope.
That's great.
Nope.
What is the most disgusting taste you've ever had in your mouth?
Right now I just took some medication, and that doesn't taste too nice. The most, medicines, my all kinds of medicines, like, just going, my dad was a doctor, and he used to bring home medications that people, before things came out on the market, like Motrin, but they came out, he brought us Motrin before it came out, got released to the market, and, other medications. And so just any kind of cough syrup or anything, I'm just like, ugh.
Totally. That's a good answer. Okay, this is our penultimate question
Right.
before our final.
Uh-huh.
We're almost out of time. Can you
Fair.
believe it?
Wow. I'm having
Why?
fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. Me too. Why is beauty valuable?
Is it, you know, is beauty valuable in the first place? You
Let's
know,
talk about it.
I, I don't, is, what is it? What is beauty? Somebody else's, what Western society's version of beauty is maybe different from another person, like another society, like society's version of beauty. And I guess beauty obviously can open doors. Especially look at Zendaya, look at the supermodels. I mean, obviously, it gets them what they want. Okay, fine. Their beauty is kind of their beauty is their career pretty much. But can it get? But what the question was, can beauty get you what you want?
Why is beauty valuable?
Um, I don't know. It's a weird question to ask. I mean, it's valuable for a supermodel. I mean, it's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
But for somebody like me, I mean, is it valuable? Is as for me as an artist, is it really valuable? I don't think so. I mean, it's just, I guess it's all relative depending on the person. I mean, but but beauty fades. I mean, we're not going to be. This face is not. I'm not. It's not going to be the same face 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And
Yeah.
but I like to think that intelligence is valuable, and good ethics are valuable to me. And yes, I mean, if beauty can kind of open doors and kind of get you what you want. I mean, talk to some girl who tried to kind of sweet talk a cop out of getting a ticket. Not that I would do that.
I've tried.
I'm just like that. I wouldn't feel clean about that.
No, I
would not.
I was not behaving well when I did that.
That would bother me.
Yeah.
And that mean my internal ethical GPS would just like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, final question for all my guests. We have less than 3 minutes for this one, Lynda.
Uh-huh.
If this is the only surviving audio clip of you left in existence, what do you want people to know?
Well, okay. Just like we've got right now, America is in a dumpster fire, and we can't, and I'm telling this to myself. We can't afford to sit on the sidelines and what they call it in basketball, riding the pine, being a bench warmer, and I need to figure out what I can do to help this country out, because it's just. I just the people who they say, somebody like me who's a liberal, we hate our country, and that is not true. That is not true. Just because I'm not waving a damn flag and this I love America, wearing American flag clothing, that makes me a person that doesn't love my country. That is so not true. That is the opposite. I think as Americans we have a right to call America on its BS. To call America on its bullshit, because what's going on with the ICE raids, and this horrendous bill that just got passed, I was reading, I was trying to read this, like Frederick Douglass's, what to the Negroes the 4th of July, and I'm just starting to get into it, and it's just like, this it's nice. I'm grateful for the opportunity that this country is giving me. Let's not get that twisted. I'm cool with that. I'm grateful for my parents that that came to this country, and I got a good education. That's wonderful. All the opportunities that this country has to offer.
10
That's
seconds.
great. But we still need to call America out on things.
Amen. Amazing. Thank you, Lynda. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I think this was an amazing episode, and we will see you next week. Bye.